This is legit unbelievable as a former NHL executive links the San Jose Sharks to a superstar forward in the NHL. This is going to have major implications on the future of the San Jose Sharks. We're going to talk about contracts, how he fits into the team, and much more coming up on this episode of Sharks Digest. But before we get into all that, we got to talk about the 59% of you guys that aren't subscribed to the channel. If you want to stay up on the latest San Jose Sharks news heading into a very busy offseason, make sure down below and hit that subscribe button. But Mark, before we get into the superstar forward that could potentially make his way to San Jose, we had a couple notes from the game last night, and if you guys missed it, the Sharks beat the Toronto Maple Leafs in a shootout. It was a game they probably should have won in regulation, but you know what that means, Mark? They pulled off the season sweep on the Toronto Maple Leafs, the first time they've done this since 2016. Also, key notes here: Will Smith and Celebrini both getting their first career shootout goals. I mean, what did you see from this game last night? Like I said, it's a game they could have probably won in regulation, but a win is a win at this point.
I mean, the biggest thing is just seeing the Sharks team not give up. They're going out, even though they're eliminated from the playoffs, and putting up incredible games, beating the Toronto Maple Leafs, which is one of the top teams in the Atlantic Division and one of the top teams in the East, in the shootout, winning both games against them this year. It just shows the young guys are still hungry, the veterans on this team, and the players that are trying to make this roster as a full-time team want to win games no matter what. They don't care about the tank. Listen, they're probably going to end up with the first overall pick still, but these games are big games. Listen, that's a big team to win against. The Toronto Maple Leafs are on everyone's radar when it comes to the media. So when you have your young stars dominating a team like this, it just puts the San Jose Sharks even more on the map when it comes to rising talent.
Yeah, and we've been saying this since we started the channel, Mark. I mean, the Sharks are a team that are going to give you heavy competition. You can't go into a game against this Sharks team thinking, this is an easy win, because these young guys they can really put the beat down on you. Like we seen last night, great to see them pull off the season sweep on Maple Leafs fans, and I know Maple Leafs fans would tell you they can't beat a bad team. Like, they can't beat a team that's at the bottom of the league, and it's just something that Toronto has been famous for over the years. But it's great to see the Sharks come out on top last night and pull off that season sweep. And you touched on the young guys, and one young guy that's been sticking out to a lot of people is Colin Graf. He scored a short-handed goal last night, giving them the 2-1 lead at that point. And this is the first time a San Jose Sharks rookie has scored a short-handed goal since 2008. And as they note here, Graf turned 6 years old less than a month prior to that goal happening, which, Mark, it makes me feel really old, but it makes me feel really great that Colin Graf has been such a great player for the San Jose Sharks this year. And only in 27 games, he has 5-5, 5 goals, 5 assists, projected at the end of the season with 14 points. He has really showed a lot in his first touches of NHL hockey, and I'm excited for Colin Graf and where his future is going in San Jose.
It just feels like yesterday when we seen the San Jose Sharks sign the top NCAA free agent with Colin Graf joining the team, and now we're seeing exactly why he was the top free agent coming out of the NCAA. This guy has been exciting on both ends of the puck. He's more known for his offensive game. But listen, shorthanded goals are hard to come by. Scoring a good team or against a team with a good penalty kill or power play, I should say, is awesome to see Colin Graf go out and do this. Listen, 6-year-old Colin Graf was probably not looking at the TV saying, hey, I'm going to score the next shorthanded goal as a rookie. But this kid has been electric, and it just shows how good Mike Grier has done with this team, building the forwards out on these franchise guys. And listen, Colin Graf's not a franchise player, but he's key pieces to the future of this team, and it's only a matter of time when the San Jose Sharks are going to start contending again. We're seeing from media outlets coming around the NHL, the Sharks are on everyone's radar, and I think it's just a matter of 2 years from now, or maybe even less, when the Sharks team really starts to compete again.
I know a lot of people are probably looking at it and saying, man, he has 10 points. How are you saying this about a guy who has 10 points? But it's his first season, and one thing I've noticed from watching Sharks games is that this is a guy who stands out on the ice whenever he has a shift, because he's always working. He's a hard worker, and that's something you can't teach. And I think that's why Colin Graf is going to really excel in San Jose. And I mean, it's his first season. I think next year we will see see him go higher and higher, and that point total keep climbing, and that's really going to be fun to watch. But Mark, the main reason why people are here is because of the superstar forward that has been linked to the San Jose Sharks. And if you've seen the thumbnail, we're talking about Mitch Marner, a former AGM for the Florida Panthers, linked Mitch Marner to the San Jose Sharks today, which is crazy to say in general, but he said that Mike Grier is obviously going to have an active summer, and Mitch Marner is a guy who is going to be on that list of players he is going to go after if he does hit the free agent market. And obviously, the Sharks have the money to do it. They have $40 million, yeah, you're seeing that right, in cap space for this summer, so they can really go out and chuck a big number at a guy like Mitch Marner coming up in this offseason, which would be very interesting to see how that goes. And this is what where he really gives his analysis on why he thinks Mitch Marner is going to land with the San Jose Sharks. He says, obviously, Grier is doing great things, as we know, signing a young coach so that he can grow with a young team. Obviously, giving Celebrini, Will Smith, all of these young stars the ample ice time for them to develop. That is another thing he notes here. And another thing he notes is signing key veterans in Tyler Toffoli. He says they're really building a structure to be a contending team and a Stanley Cup, hopefully winning team down the road. And this is why he thinks they will land Mitch Marner, is because they're doing all the right things to put the building blocks in place for the future. And that's why I think Mitch Marner is going to end up in the Sharks. Mark, what is your initial reaction to this? Because I can't imagine seeing Mitch Marner in a Sharks jersey, but I would love it.
I mean, the biggest thing is looking at Mitch Marner. Yes, he's in his late 20s, but this is one of the best two-way forwards in the entire National Hockey League, and one of the best playmakers. While at that, we see Mitch Marner getting close to 100 points, 99 being his career high. He will break 100 this season, but Mitch Marner is an interesting one. Listen, if you put him on a wing with Macklin Celebrini, that's going to boost Celebrini up, not only on his defensive numbers, but also with his scoring. We're going to see Mitch Marner setting up Celebrini, and you could have this for about 7 seasons. But the biggest thing is, and I don't want Mike Grier to stray away from too far, is the fact they do need defense. They need a right-handed defenseman. They have a lot of lefties in their pipeline or on the team right now, but it would be nice to see Mike Grier go out, and if he can score 2 big fish in a guy like Mitch Marner, who would help this team out not only next year, but for the foreseeable future. Yes, it's going to cost a lot. Yes, you might have to overpay a couple million when it comes to pry him out of Toronto, but this is a name that doesn't hit the market often. I mean, if he hits the market and you can score him with the cap going up, it's not going to be so bad if you give a guy like this 12.5 or 13 million over a 7-year span. But I do think the big thing that Mike Grier has to right with this ship is the right-handed defenseman. They don't need to go out and sign someone for 10 million, but I do think picking up right-handed defenseman as a top priority would be awesome. But then picking up a guy like Mitch Marner would just be the icing on the cake.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is a move that, if it does arise, I think Mike Grier will jump at this opportunity. And numbers that I've been seeing float around here, they're saying Toronto is likely going to sign him for 13.75. So if he turns that down and hits the open market, he's going to be looking for more than that. And like Mark said, coming to a Sharks team that is probably going to have another down year. They're not going to be at the top of the league or at the top of the standings. You're going to have to overpay for this guy. Will they go as high as probably 14 or 14.5? I would say they're there and maybe then some. It depends on how long of a contract they do sign with him. But I think if he's available, you got to do everything you can to get him, because he's a guy who's going to make every player around him better, especially the young guys they got coming up. And like Mark said, I do think they do need to prioritize that defensive slot, but they have $40 million here. That is a lot of money. That you could almost sign a full roster with that if you really wanted to. But I think that Mike Grier here is doing a great job, and I think seeing even a little bit of ounce of hope that we could land a superstar in Mitch Marner is great news. But we want to hear your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. Do you think Mitch Marner will come to San Jose? Let us know down below. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like on the channel. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're on the road for 2,000 subscribers here. We'd really appreciate it. If you're not subscribed already, go down below and hit that subscribe button so you stay up to date on the latest San Jose Sharks news. And heading into a busy offseason, it's going to be a fun time to be a San Jose Sharks fan. But as always, I've been your host, KC, alongside my co-host, Mark Pye. We'll catch you in the next one.